Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I think we should start the session. So I hope we are ready. Hi, Ron. They're terrible. Okay, I think it's already past about 10 minutes. So let us start the session. So thank you for joining our session titled "The Train Paradigm for Disaster Resilience." So I'm a moderator of this session. I'm Shunichi Koshimura from Tohoku University. So why we are hosting this session is that digital twin. So as you know, the digital twin technology, we are utilizing the digital twin technology in diverse industries, including the urban planning or architecture, civil engineering, also in earth science researches, even the aerospace engineering. What is good for utilizing digital twin is we have many data from the sensors, various sensors, and then put it in the copy as a copy in cyber world, that is a computer, and then running the lots of simulations, machine learning models, models to get the insight for our society. So even you have the Apple Watch or any other watches that are measuring your body's conditions and measuring the heart rates and then give you some insights. You need more sleep, or you need more steps, you need more work or something like that. So that is, I think that is the point of the utilizing digital twin. So what we are doing here is to expand that digital twin paradigm to disaster resilience. So we have two speakers. So we have plenty of time to discuss lots of things. So I hope you enjoy this session. Okay, thank you. And then let's move on to, let me invite the keynote speaker. Dr. Kusunoki Koji is a professor at the Earthquake Research Institute at the University of Tokyo. In 1997, he completed his PhD program at the University of Tokyo, and then he became a member of the University of Tokyo Earthquake Research Institute since 2014, and has become a professor at the University of Tokyo Earthquake Research Institute since 2018. So his major research topics include health monitoring of structures, experimental research on structural performance of reinforced concrete structures, and damage investigation in earthquake damaged areas. Why we invite him is that he is the program director of the Cross-Ministerial Strategic Innovation Promotion Program, which is called SIP. That is one of the Japan's flagship research and development project. So he's going to talk about the outline of a project called SIP for the disaster resilience. So, please.
So, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Professor Koshimura, for kind introduction. Again, my name is Koichi Kusunoki from the Earthquake Research Institute of the University of Tokyo. So, at this occasion, I would like to introduce the SIP program for disaster mitigation. So, this is somehow the selected items, the topics for SIP. SIP is a 5 years project. Then not every year we just apply for the SIP, but since once we start SIP, for 5 years, no new items could be added. So first term was started in 2014. Then at that time, here the 11 topics are selected for SIP. Then the second term just finished in 2022. Then this time 12 topics are selected for the SIP program. Then here you can see for the first term, the social resilience, which is for the disaster mitigation and the management, was selected. And for the second term, again, national resilience, the name was a little bit changed. But again, the selected because you may know that Japan has too many kinds of the natural disasters. So for SIP, the disaster means not only the earthquake, but also the flood, typhoon, and some other natural disasters. Then 2022, just we finished the second term. Then in the year of 2000, from 2010 to 2020, I think you can see a lot of the devastating the natural disasters occurred in Japan, including the 2011 Pacific Coast of Tohoku earthquake, 2016 Kumamoto earthquake. Not only the earthquakes, but also you can see a lot of typhoons and floods hit Japan, maybe because of the global warming issue. Then we are facing such a devastating disasters, and so many people were killed due to the disasters. So that's why the government always selected the disaster mitigation issue for the SIP program. Then, unfortunately, this year, just on the New Year Day, the earthquake never care what day it is. Even the New Year Day, the earthquake hit the somehow central part of Japan, which is which occurred in the Noto Peninsula. This is a peninsula. It's quite a unique shape. It made the disaster management difficult. Then so far, I think the latest number is 243. Compared to other countries, probably the number of the casualties is rather small, but still 243 people were killed due to earthquake. Then thanks for the sensors deployed all over Japan due to the Kobe earthquake, our government decided to increase the number of sensors all over Japan. Now we have a lot of sensors. Then we can get the seismic intensity right after the earthquake. About 3 minutes after the earthquake, we can get the seismic intensity like this. And the Ministry of Education has a national institute to deploy other sensors all over Japan to get the waveform of earthquake. Here, they have about 10 stations in this prefecture. Then you see the maximum ground acceleration exceeded about 2G. It's incredible. Then how come buildings can survive such a strong shaking? But then here you can see the comparison between the measured acceleration and the code requirement. For wide period range, the measured acceleration exceeded the code requirement. So we can say that too strong to the Japanese buildings. Then this is the shape of the peninsula with showing the locations of the road. You see the number of roads are quite limited. Then due to the shaking, they were severely damaged. Then we lost the way to get to the affected area. It took time to know where the earthquake occurred and where the most affected people are living, where we should send the materials and the foods and so on. We couldn't know because of the damage of the roads. Then this earthquake was somehow unique from the structural engineering viewpoint. My major is a reinforced concrete structure. Then I was dispatched to the affected area right after the earthquake. Then you see, this is one of the damaged building due to shaking, but it's quite limited. This is the private medical clinic. Then the round bar, which is the smooth bar, was used for this building. That means that this building was designed according to the previous building code, but not strengthened. yet. Unfortunately, earthquake came faster than the retrofitting. Then this photo was one of the most famous the damage occurred during this earthquake. 7-story reinforced concrete structure totally overturned. Of course, during some other earthquakes, buildings overturned. But this is the first time when the building overturning killed one family. Then there used to be the 3-story timber house right here. Then New Year Day, the family gathered together in that house. Then they were killed. So that's why the government dispatched us. Then many buildings inclined a lot, but only one building overturned, then killed one family. And this is the school building. Then it was retrofitted already because our government was promoting the retrofitting after the Kobe earthquake. Now, 30 years has passed after the Kobe earthquake. Then about 99.8% of the school buildings are all retrofitted. Then this building was also retrofitted. Then you see, it didn't collapse. So we can say we succeeded by retrofitting the building, but inclined a lot. But even if it's not New Year Day, even if the students were inside the building, we can save the lives of the students. So we should say we succeeded. Then the timber houses, so many damages, and roads like that. We couldn't go through that kind of serious damage on the road. And it's devastating. We don't need to look for the damaged building everywhere. So we found once the earthquake happened, disaster is already there. So many buildings collapsed, then widely affected, just in a second. Then the problem is we cannot find out the locations and the area where the most affected. Then the government, but of course before this earthquake happened, the government decided to start the third term of SIP program. Then here you can see the I think 14 the items, the topics which were selected for SIP. You see the widely distributed topics like post-COVID-19, healthcare, community food chain, and so on, robotics there. Then the third term, this topic, the disaster mitigation, is only the topic which had been selected for all terms. Then third term, again, the development of a smart network for disaster mitigation was selected. Then I was also assigned as a PI for this program. Then the budget size is about $24 million per year for 5 years. It's huge. Then this time, the other topic, which is development of a smart infrastructure management system, is also selected. This is for the daily maintenance. Then our topic is for the disaster. Then, but the topic is quite similar. We are dealing with infrastructures, buildings, houses, hospitals, and so on. So we are collaborating together, especially for developing the digital twin. If we can develop a digital twin of the cities, we can use for both of them, disaster management and also the daily infrastructure management. That's why we are collaborating. So then SIP should be the multi-ministerial project. If the issue is only for one single ministry, it should be done by the ministerial budget, not SIP. So that's why for the disaster mitigation, you can imagine easily, it's not only for the Ministry of Construction, but also for the many different ministries and agencies, such as the National Police Agency and the Ministry of Self-Defense and also Ministry of Construction and so on. So many ministries are involved in this project. Then this is the view of our project. The current situation, we have a lot of the difficulties to tackle with the natural disasters. One of them is, as I told you, we want to know what's going on right after the natural disaster, but it's quite difficult. And also, on the other hand, for the earthquake, we should know the affected area. But on the other hand, for the heavy rain, the situation is totally different. Thanks for the second term and the first term, we have developed some new technology to predict the typhoon, heavy rain, and so on. So we can predict 1 day or 2 days before it happened. Even if we announce to the people, the heavy rain is coming, you should go evacuate. But people do not evacuate. Sometimes they just come to the river to see, is it true, flood? Then they were sometimes killed. So we need to change their mind. So that's very big challenge for this SIP project. But we are trying to do. Then first of all, how are we gonna grasp the situation or condition right after the disaster? We need to use the IT technology, satellite, sensing, and so on, to detect the situation automatically. If we can do so, from the beginning of the disaster management, all information will be digitized. Then with that information, we can develop the digital twin in cyberspace, like what Koshimura sensei introduced. Once we got the digital twin, we can do almost everything. We can conduct a numerical simulation to predict the 2 hours later situation, how the typhoon will go. Then we can predict the subsequent damages and so on. We will do that, but we need a very powerful computer power. But anyway, we will do that. So this figure showed the schematic idea. Of course, the disaster happened in a real space, in a reality. But as I told you, we are trying to collect the data in digital format with sensors, satellite, and so on. So for the second term of the SIP program, we developed a system to use a satellite. So automatically, the system will detect what satellite should take the photos of the damaged area. Then automatically, the image will be sent to the Ministry of Education. Then the damage detection system will start to detect the affected area. So for the third term, we are going to use the commercial small satellites as well. They will be involved in the project. Then, as I told you, the gathered, collected information will be transferred to the digital twin in the cyberspace, then conduct a numerical simulation. Then, it's counting down. So 5 minutes left. Okay. Then we're going to conduct the numerical simulation and to predict the coming situation after the disaster. Then comes back to the real space to give some advice, support to the decision makers, like the mayors, governors, and so on. So this is the structure of our project. We have the 5 subtopics. The first one, subgroup A, is to detect the information, such as using the satellite system and IoT techniques. IoT sensors are now everywhere in air conditioning system, TV, then washing machine and so on. They can speak, actually. They are talking too much, so I don't like that, but they talk a lot, so they can give us the information after the disasters. They can tell you, you should evacuate. To where? To the nearest the evacuation center. It's depending on your health condition. If you are too old to climb up the slope, the evacuation center where you can go on the flat road will be announced, something like that. Then group B, subgroup B is challenging. They are going to change their mind, the people's mind to evacuate. They are now developing some system, especially for each of you. According to your health condition, according to your characteristics and your lifestyle, they will provide the information just for you when you need to evacuate and where you should go. Then group C is another quite challenging group. They are trying to make the collaboration among the police department, fire department, and the Ministry of Defense. Basically, they don't want to collaborate. You may easily imagine. But we are trying to change their mind. Actually, so far, we succeeded. Yeah. They are developing the standardized data sharing system among the Department of Police, Fire, and Ministry of Defense. The group D is quite, only flood. They are developing the dam management system. To manage the dam, it's quite easy. If the heavy rain is coming, just release the water. That's quite easy. But the water is used for the agriculture as well. They don't want to reduce the amount of water. So we need to balance the Ministry of Construction and the Ministry of Agriculture. So we are trying to find out the better solution to manage the dam system. Then group E is developing the basic technique for digital twin. So we are collaborating with another SIP program, as I told you, the smart infrastructure management. So they are going to develop the digital twin of the cities. So we are going to develop the application for the disaster management. Then this is the structure, the people who are involved in the project. I'm a PD program director. Then Koshimura sensei is right here. He is the player side. He is developing the digital twin technique for the tsunami disaster management, which will be introduced in a minute. I should finish within 20 seconds. So I should skip several slides, so I don't need this one. Then after this one, I believe that I talked with World Bank in this morning. Then they told me all slides will be open on their homepage, as far as I know. I do hope so. Then from this slide, some slides are introducing what will be done by each the subgroups. A is to detect the damage by satellite and so on, like the heavy rain and the water level sensors and so on. Then they are going to use the building sensors and the sensors in the home applicant and so on. Then group B is how to change the people's mind. This is also very, very challenging. Then group C is to develop the new data sharing system for the Department of Police, Fire, and the Ministry of the Defense. Then we already developed some prototype. Then it was used after the earthquake happened on the New Year Day. Then group D is developing the new dam management system for both Ministry of Construction and the Ministry of Agriculture. Then for the group E, we are developing the digital twin technique for the disaster management and infrastructure management. Then like this, then we can somehow conduct the numerical simulation of whole city, looking at each individual buildings. You see, the red marked buildings are evaluated to be collapsed. Then in the center, we are also developing the very, very accurate, very precise numerical model in the digital twin for the important structures, like city hall, the central government buildings, and the nuclear power plants, like this. Then this one is a digital twin for tsunami. Then Koshimura sensei is here. I don't need to talk about this one. He will talk later. But you see, his system can predict the tsunami within a few minutes. Then his system can estimate what area will be under the water, then where and who should evacuate immediately with using the digital twin system. So as I told you, we are collaborating with the smart infrastructure project. So as a conclusion, this is the last slide, I believe. And we are tackling with natural disasters for more than 2,000 years in Japan. Then before we got the computer, of course. So that's why we had not been believing the electricities right after the disasters. So our disaster management system was developed based on the papers and pencils. But everything is changed. We have the cell phones, we have a computer, then the city, all systems in the cities are based on the computer system. So we change our mind. We can believe the electricities and the computers. We should digitize the disaster management. It's not, we are not running in front in terms of the digital techniques. We are following the other groups. But we can do many things with computer systems, like what Koshimura sensei is going to introduce right after my presentation. So 5 years later, I believe that Japan will be somehow stronger than what it is today. But still, Japan is very safe. Even if the strong earthquake happened right now, don't worry, it's safe. Okay? That's all. Yeah, that's all for my presentation.
Thank you, Tsunoki-sensei, for broad picture, to show the broad picture of the SIP program. So I'd like to move on to my presentation, but after this, I'd like to take some questions and questions. Okay? As Professor Tsunoki mentioned, that there's a program which is underway in Japan, ministerial program, and we are taking a role, one of these, called the Tsunami Digital Twin. So I guess that some of you are joined in the morning that hosted by Ron Eguchi. Can you? Okay, that's, so I guess that I a little bit same about with that. What the digital twin? So that is kind of, this is a definition of myself about the digital twin. That is a fusion of computing and sensing, monitoring, and the visualization AI running between the physical world and the cyber world. So let's take a look at from the physical world. What we have as a technology, we have the technology of sensing, monitoring, and even the practice. Our efforts, the practice is also the critical technology in the physical world. And then what we have in the cyber world, it's we have the capability of modeling or forecasting, and then inference, and then policy design. Are what we call hexagon concept of the digital twin. So with that, we are having the loop, feedback loop between the physical world and cyber world, get the insights, what we do in the physical world as a part of the disaster response. And also what is good in doing the disaster digital twin in the cyber world is run the diverse simulations with many scenarios, potential scenarios in the future, like an aging community, sea level rise, and the future urban configurations. That makes it possible to run every simulations to get the consequences of the running policy, and then with the potential adaptation strategies to use that insights for the physical world. So that is the concept of the digital twin, disaster digital twin. So the core technology is our operational GNSS-based tsunami inundation forecast system that runs very rapidly in the aftermath of the event occurs, like that one. That's the result of the verifying Tohoku event. So on the right-hand side, that is so-called the sensing technology in the physical world to get the information, crustal movement in the real time. That will be copied into the cyber world to run the simulation on the left-hand side, like that, to get the consequences of tsunami inland penetration. So the advantage of running this is the supercomputer in Tohoku University, which makes it possible to run this simulation anytime once the tsunami has occurred. And also, this is no longer a research project. We established the Tohoku University-based startup, RDCast, and then starting the focus services with the product is TsunamiCast. So that is the one we had. We are proud of this. The performance of the TsunamiCast using the high-performance computing infrastructure, on the right-hand side, I'm showing some examples of performance. So this is a relationship of the computation time and how many cores we're going to use to complete the 6-hour forecast within the 10-meter grid. So with the special resolutions of 10-meter grid, it's very precise high-resolution tsunami inundations forecasting. So you can see that the red plot, our new generation supercomputer in Tohoku University, which is called SX Aurora, that makes us possible to complete the very precise forecast, tsunami inundation forecast, within a couple of minutes. So we already did that in the social implementation, starting the forecast services surrounding Japan. So you know where we are? That's we are in Himeji. We don't have a laser. Oh, okay. So it's because we are in Seto Inland Sea, that we suppose that the tsunami is not coming, so that. But we are covering the whole part of the coast nationwide. So we doing the services, focus services to the government organizations and in private sectors. So, and also, what's important is to see the consequences of tsunami inland penetration. That is, makes possible. This is called the tsunami fragility curve. That makes it possible to estimate the structural damage quantitatively. So this is a relationship of damage probability of the houses as a function of the tsunami inundation depth, according to the building types, wooden houses or others, like a steel or reinforced concrete structure. On the data we had in 11 event, that data, well, now would be utilized, this kind of statistical models. And then how we use that. This is one typical example of how the users are with their response drill. So on the left-hand side, you see the picture of their operation room to use the forecast information for their search and rescue operations and the medical services and the road and the supplies. That makes them possible because we are focusing about tsunami inundation depth, building damage, and exposed populations. So those are very critical disaster responders. So as this is of the product. So you see the very precise tsunami inundation focused result. And you can add many information like a red pins you're looking at, that is designated evacuation buildings, shelters for vertical evacuation. To know how many people are after the tsunami inundation, how many people are waiting there for support. It's working? Okay. So, one more thing. This is very interesting. So, called exposure mapping. Should I click the button? Ah, yes, yes, okay. This is the moment of the earthquake of the January 1st in Noto. So what you're looking at is the population estimates using the cell phone data. So you see, time population on the light blue square, that is one. What a good digital technology. Anyway. Anyway, I'm joking, sorry. So what is the remarkable thing is that you see the timer season and then suddenly you have the drop. That is the drop of the population at the 4 p.m. That is the time of earthquake occurred. What this means, we had a sudden population drop. That means the people's movement, that many of them try to evacuate at a higher place. So that is the reason why we had a sudden drop at the coastal area. So it's good to know, I think it's good to know in real time how people responded. So this is one example at the Noto Peninsula earthquake that you see. Take a look at the right top. This is the city center. What you're looking at is the blue is decreasing, and then red is increasing every 500 meters. So what you read in the coastal area, blue, and then higher place, red. That means many of the people try to evacuate to the higher ground right after the earthquake. So that is good thing to know. So this is one example how the digital twin will work in real time in the aftermath of disaster. So in the future, what if we have the real-time positioning individuals like that? And then what if we have the very quick focus of the tsunami inundation? And then that makes it possible to find out where people are suffering. And then how we save them. Or even before that tsunami comes, we can tell or we can disseminate that information to the people as an individual focused product, where to go, how to survive. So that is what we are trying to achieve in the SIP program. And also, I hope we have started more. One use cases of using the digital twin is not only real time. For example, the reconstruction planning. So this is the Sendai city's reconstruction plan we had after the 2011 event. So we have the concept of multiple defense lines. First line is the civil, and behind that, we designed the coastal road raised from 2 to 6 meters in the plan. But the question is that how high we should raise the road. So that is I think that is a good functionality of using the digital twin to get the answers like that. So working with the Sendai city planners, we run many simulations in the cyber world with the potential urban plan scenarios or land use or design of the elevator road like that. So the question is how high we should elevate the road. So as a consequence of the simulations and discussions, we decided to elevate 6 meters above the ground. And then now, the picture on the left-hand side, that is what we have in the real world. Right-hand side, the cyber world. So that is, I think that is one good use case, is use the digital twin in the planning phase. And then, last one, this is like a Nintendo game. That what we do, what these guys are doing is the medical response. So we have, in the cyber world, ourselves, even doctors, ambulances, any other mobilities, can be represented by the agents in the cyber world, the agents in the computer. So in the cyber world, in disaster-affected areas, many agents are working like that to save people on the left-hand side. Actually, on the left-hand side, you see the blue belt. That is the tsunami inundation zone. So medical people are trying to save people, transfer the patients. So this is like, this is like a Nintendo game, but more data from the physical world can be copied to the cyber world in a real time. I believe this could be more realistic, right? So what we're doing in the cyber world to run the agent simulation to find the optimum solutions, optimum configurations for medical people or mobilities to save people. So that is I think, one of the achievement we are trying to do. So I think it's time. So this is like some kind of conclusions as a pathways to overcome future catastrophe using the digital twin technologies. So digital twin, that is the leveraging Earth observation data products to create the comprehensive tsunami loss estimation and search the best policy design. And then we want to make the co-creation of digital twin products with the many new partners. And then the last thing is that what is important is the backcasting from our inevitable future. So using the advances of new technologies and also growing concerns about vulnerability. I believe that our future, the digital twin technology can help. So thank you for your kind attention. So I think so our session started 10 minutes behind the schedule. So I think we have the right to do more 10 minutes, okay? So I'd like to take questions from the audiences or comments, whatever. Yes, please. Can you bring the microphone? Or should we have? Doesn't work?
Oh, now it is. So thank you, for the presentation. I'm Roberto Rodari from CIMA Research Foundation. Well, first let me acknowledge, the tremendous work you're doing, into, the modeling part. It's really impressive. However, my idea of digital twin, because I'm a modeler too, so I always, try to find, ways to distinguish, like, a very good, modeling schema, in the digital world from what we call a digital twin. And I think, normally for me, I identify two things, just to be simple. One is the contact with the real-time information that is always absorbed by the model, which we normally do, since before, the digital twin concept, was there. And the second one that is a little bit more, complicated is, the ability, for us to interact easily with the model, to evaluate, what if scenarios. So, what if I'm doing something and, how, the thing responds. So I'm not sure I capture, this second part, in what you were, explaining. So maybe, I mean, I would like to have, I mean, a little bit more insight to how you think, I mean, this could be, you know, handled by decision makers, how this could be, you know, done in an easier way, I mean, really to interact with this type of modeling framework so that we can, you know, test, you know, what-if scenarios and take the right decisions.
Let me go first. So I think I should, it's good to, can you show my slides? So I think it's good to start with the digital twin framework. So the background is that, I think it's the background is that the quick acquisition or real-time acquisition of the sensor data. That is, I think it's a good start we had, especially we had the more advanced technology after the 2011 event, including the Earth observation data and also even the social sensing data. So that is going to be, for example, in the tsunami cases, Earth observation data, that will be utilized very well to determine that tsunami source model like that. So what you're looking at on the right-hand side is using the crustal movement data in real time. So that makes it possible to estimate that tsunami source model, to run the simulations. So that is, I think, is the typical example using the sensing data or real-time acquisition data. And then also we have the real capability or real-time computing. So real-time data and the real-time analysis, that is going to be input of the other models. I think also the input-output relationship or the loops are very good or very critical functionality of digital twin. And then what's the, you have the two questions, right?
What if thing? I mean, this is like, I mean, if I have like a digital twin, I would like to interact with that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that the good thing is it's not only the real-time focused. In any phases of the disaster management, I think we can utilize the digital twin. For example, as I mentioned, in the planning phase, we want to do some what-if analysis. What if we do, or what if we hit this plan, what we do have this policy? It's good to, in the cyber world, it's good to see the consequences of that applying the policy or adaptation strategies in the cyber world. To do that, we need many models. For example, many agent models, many other AI to get the inferences of the applying that policy. But that's, I think, that the key functionality of the digital twin. It's not only about the real-time forecast, but it's good to see the consequences of the potential policies. And then I believe that we can find the very good solution, the best solution, applying that many models, and then what-if analysis, and then those solutions can be fed back to the real world, to the policymakers or practitioners. So that's what we want to achieve.
I would like to comment some things. Then the prediction is somehow easier for us, for academicians, just to predict. That shows the results. That's it. But disaster comes. Then we should know the real situation. Then, as you said, you pointed out, the modeling can affect a lot. The results can be changed according to the modeling. But the disaster is here. The building collapsed, but some building didn't collapse. Or tsunami comes to this place, but not here. We know the situation. Then what I'm asking as a PI, as a name of PI to Koshimura Sensei is please update the model according to the measured the disasters in front of us. Then the earthquakes, we will have the aftershocks. Typhoons, it can move. The flood also can change. So we need to update the modeling according to the measured data. If not, once the disaster happened, we cannot use digital twin anymore because it goes far away from the reality. So that's why I'm always asking Koshimura Sensei to develop a technique to to update the modeling.
I think that's a good point. So that's why I'm putting the circles and then I think it's not only one cycle, updating with the monitoring information. Okay, thank you, Tsunoki-sensei. Any other questions, comments? Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Wakita. Thank you for the presentation. My question is more about modeling small scale. So in order to run your simulations, I think you have to capture like 3D models, 2D models of the terrain and stuff. And maybe satellite imagery, you can do it at a higher level. But when you need like smaller models, you need people on site using laser scanners and drones and stuff. And I think a lot of people are hesitant to use these new technologies. How would you overcome this challenge?
Good question. Good questions. So that's why I'm on the last slide. I'm proposing you to co-creation of the digital twin. So why don't we share that data to copy whole world as a computing platform to use that to running the various diverse simulations to see the consequence of the Earth systems in the cyber world. So I think it's in that sense, I think we can share this picture, this image, the work framework working with the many people and then industries, practitioners. So that's the part of the thing you mentioned about data. Data is important. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Developing the digital twin is somehow quite challenging. And the concept is okay. Everybody can understand how useful it is. But for the practice, who will develop the digital twin of the cities? It takes time to modeling all structures, all bridges, all highways. It takes time. So the government has been promoting the development of digital twin to the local governments. So now we are somehow digitizing the cities. Then some cities already digitized. But there are several levels. The lowest level is just like a Google map. The highest model, we have the almost all modeling. But it's quite limited. So under this project, we are going to develop somehow the new technique to develop the structure model from the 3D scanning. And we have a bunch of the drawings. That we scan the drawings, then automatically the model will be developed. That kind of the techniques must be developed to realize the digital twin world. Thank you.
Okay, yes, please.
Thank you for your presentation. So in the digital twin world, we have, let's say, multiple models, one for flood, one for evacuation, and one for just anything else. How much work do you do in the interaction between these models? For example, how the a traffic model affects, when a flood comes, how this traffic model gets affected, versus the model you showed of monitoring, maybe using satellite, telephone information, the population, how the evacuation gets affected by, so like the cross, how models talk to each other.
I think it's no limits for integrating the models. I think it depends on what issue you are interested in. For example, evacuation. So to do that, I think it's to evacuation. We want to establish the evacuation digital twin or something like that. So to achieve that, what kind of information or data we need to copy from the physical world, and then what we do in the cyber world. Something like that. I think through the discussion, thematic digital twin we call. So what issue you are interested in, or what problems do you want to solve? And then probably we can start working together, constructing, putting the data in the cyber world, putting the models in the cyber world to co-create the digital twin. So that's the concept, that's the idea. Thank you.
So just one comment. Even if we got the digital twin, we don't necessarily need to conduct a numerical simulation. just obtain the data, we just gather into the digital twin. Even that kind of digital twin, it's quite useful. And also we are now trying to develop the digital twin to storage the data. In the digital twin world, you can go back to the 20 years ago. Then what happened during the previous pretty strong earthquake to see the damage of the building in the cyber world. That's what we are trying to develop. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think